Now, I'm here at the Listowel Arms Hotel on this Tuesday evening with What Matters programme, and my guest this evening is Brian Finucane, People Before Profit, and a very, very strong community activist on various issues. Brian, it's great to talk to you today.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me on your show. Appreciate it.
Brian, of course, we have to start out the programme this evening by the terrible news that we got of the airline pilots on the air-sea rescue, which was very, very upsetting for the whole nation, and terrible, terrible tragedy that took place.
All I could say is my deepest condolences to the families of those of the pilots, and I hope to God that they find those that are missing in safe and well. But the length of time now it's been, and that I'm afraid it's not looking great.
There's 4 of a crew. One is fatally injured, and the other 3
are missing.
It's terrible. It's actually unthinkable when you actually think of it.
And these are our frontline staff. These are the people that are out there risking their lives every day.
And they do.
And this, when something like this occurs, I think we should all stand together with them on this.
I totally agree. And another unfortunate piece of news, less dramatic and less tragic, of course, but still very sad, is the pending loss of 200 jobs in a cosmetic factory in Nina, in County Tipperary, and it's a terrible blow to husbands and wives and people that are there.
Absolutely, John. And to be honest about it, it's going to England. It's not going to China.
Right. Yes.
It's not going to China. It's not going to anywhere further afield. It's going to England.
Yes.
And being honest about it, it's something that I have been thinking myself personally for a long time, is that we hear all this talk about Brexit. Being honest, I don't think it's as serious as people say. It may be to us, in a sense where who's to say that businesses don't go to England rather than than here? But I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, really, to be honest about it, England are quite strong.
They are very strong.
And they have their currency.
And they have, and this is the very, very point that we have been sort of led by the groupies, as they call them, the pro-Brussels politicians in this country.
We've been led by the coattail, John.
Unfortunately, yes. And this is where I honestly feel there is a very, very serious feeling by the populace in this country that they want out of Europe like England. And I think England is going to be a catalyst that a lot of other countries will now start, like France even, Italy, that's in a mess, never mind Greece and other countries.
Let's be very clear here, John. I believe, and I think as a lot of others believe, that a lot of the scrutiny and a lot of the comments about the Brexit, saying that it would have a detrimental effect on England, that if Ireland were to even think about it, we would be shunned, or we would lose this, that and the other. I think, being quite honest about it, John, a lot of it was scare tactics in case that we would leave, seeing that we are on the peripheries of Europe, and that our major exporter is Britain.
Yes, exactly.
And to be quite honest about it, it would set a domino effect, I believe personally.
And the point is this: the Taoiseach himself, is primed now for a nice lucrative job in Brussels.
In Europe, yes. And did you see today that he was talking to, I don't quote me on this, but I think it was the Mayor of Boston or something he was talking to, and looking for his support on supporting those that were illegal immigrants in the United States. He was blatantly refused. As far as I'm concerned, it's having Enda Kenny over in the United States to speak on our behalf is like going to war with a cap gun.
Yeah, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And I think this is a gimmick.
Yes.
And it's a political gimmick as well. I just want to turn, of course, to the extremely bad news as well that is now filtering through in relation to our rural post office network. And it's a very, very sad day for our rural countryside.
It's a travesty, John.
We've lost our banks, And now, by the looks of it, 200 post offices or more
at least
could be gone.
At least, John. I've been on this issue for a very, very long time. I've been involved in trying to keep our post offices up and running for the last 4 years, at least 4 to 5 years. And being honest, when it was first introduced, the idea of the post offices giving the tender away of the benefits enough capacity. But going back to that issue is that what I did realise was that it was a factor where the state was looking to privatise our post offices,
yes.
or to an effect similar to what, let's say, what occurred in Devon and what has occurred across in with British, I suppose, is it the Royal Mail now?
The Royal Mail, yes.
Post offices there, they've been literally decimated. A lot of the problem is, and very simply, is they brought in this report which was followed through and used. What occurred was the post offices were virtually privatised by other larger firms like I suppose Asda's, other groups that would take over, have them in their business, and the post office where you and I would have known, and many of the public would know, would have disappeared, and it becomes a chain of fast service,
right,
with no accountability, no security, in my belief. What they did produce was the Care report back in 2014. I think Bobby Carr was 14 or 15. It's great if you want to get rid of the post office the way it is, because that piece of paper is about as useful now as the proverbial chocolate teapot, John. It is there for one reason only, to close our post offices and put them into the private sector.
Like what they were trying to
like
do.
Like we were doing in Devon, like
Yep.
yes, the very same. And we are going to find what they've done is basically taken their initiative, copy and pasted it, and put their own name on it. The post offices are in serious trouble, and if anyone out there, including postmasters, believe that there is any safeguard or any fail-safe with the Care report, no, there isn't. It is there for one purpose only: to get you out of your positions and to get rid of your. If you have a lifetime license, it'll get rid of it.
Yes.
If you have, if you're there to keep your business, you could have put in thousands into keeping your post office up and running for many numerous reasons, security, safety, even sections for other shopping, let's say trinkets or whatever that you be. Because I have to say, the money that is paid into a lot of the postmasters is not enough to keep them. It's barely enough to keep them afloat.
Right.
And
Yes.
by losing further
Like banking facilities
that
whatever
will be
yes.
gone. And I'll tell you this for a fact: is this new banking thing that they're looking to introduce into the post offices will have as far as I'm concerned, a very, very serious effect on the post offices. It'll go to a stage where you sign up once for this, and
Yes.
Everything goes into your bank account, and you have no more use of the post office, and that means the post office will close their own doors.
And the problem is then that people are going to be left without post office, like pensions.
Yeah.
Not everyone
wants
a
to
bank
go
account.
to the post office.
Yes,
yeah.
yeah,
No,
I mean,
not everyone wants to go to a bank.
Yes,
and the thing
yeah.
about it is the bank charges. Post office doesn't. The postmaster knows when you come in. They know you personally. You know
Yes,
them
they
personally.
do. Exactly.
And if you, God forbid, tomorrow morning, let's say, John, just as an example, let's say I walked into the post office, did what I had to do as I try to do most weeks, paying my television or whatever, and say there comes a week or two where I'm not there, I don't come in, something may have occurred.
That's right. Yes.
That postmaster will know.
Yes.
They say Brian hasn't come in today.
Yeah.
And that would set off alarm bells.
Yes. Exactly.
And it's something that you won't get with large chains of businesses where everything is done automated. the social aspect is totally gone out of it. It will decimate towns and villages. I've said this numerous times.
I remember interviewing you for the last 2 years. You predicted it.
Yeah.
Now it's happening.
It's happening.
Now, could it still happen?
Yes, because there is no support by either Fianna Fáil or Fine Gael on this, as far as I'm concerned, regardless of what the likes of Timmy Dooley and others are spokespersons on the issues of communications. I think Timmy Dooley would be the spokesperson on communications for Fianna Fáil. What he's saying, at the end of the day, they could very easily pull the plug on the government on this issue alone. But nothing is being occurred.
I know. Yes.
What we have to understand is this issue has been going on since the Fianna Fáil PDs.
Right.
Once they took the post boxes out of the walls of post offices, that's when you knew the change was starting.
Right.
And this is the final leg. I believe that we will see a huge difference, a massive change within the second quarter of this year alone.
Now, I asked though, will it happen? The next question is, can it be stopped?
Yes, it can, very easily.
Right.
It can be stopped very easily. It can be stopped by introduction of not financial support, but in the area of actual work opportunity. There was a thing that was being pushed, and I spoke to Ned O'Hara, who is the Secretary General, I think, of the IPU. General Secretary of the IPU, and where we spoke on the issue of it's called the New Zealand, well, it's known as the New Zealand banking system, right? The Kiwi banking system, where it's done to facilitate those that have bad credit, or those that are looking to, let's say, improve their credit rating. You don't get a mortgage out of it, but you do get enough to maybe spare up to get, let's say, get yourself I won't say a new car, but a second-hand car, to pay for little things that need to be done at home and that, whatever. Again, to boost your credit rating.
Right. Yes.
It works both ways. It works very well for the post office because we have a link, we have a system where, again, we have the post offices have some of the top IT in Ireland. The facilities are there. But the only issue is the support by the state isn't.
Yes.
And when we push this, and I'm delighted to say I was involved in this back in November when we were pushing to get this put forward in the plan for government, and they finally realised it, or they accepted it, but they didn't pursue it.
Yeah.
This has now been put back on the shelf.
Right.
And this is a money maker, and this will support not just the community but the post offices themselves.
But you see, the problem with this, like Irish Water and all of the other systems that were brought in, is it too late for them to get to see the sense of this?
It's never too late, John. It's never too late. They're still open. It's when they close their doors.
That's the problem.
That's when.
Yes.
Because once they're closed, and you will not get them back.
Right. Now, just finally as well, because this will be a series of interviews with Brian and other members as well of the community leaders. Bus Éireann strike is looming. Talks broke down at the workers, the Work Relation Commission. So it looks like that Bus Éireann management directors are going to go ahead with the cuts. And if they do, there's an all-out strike.
Yeah. And to be quite honest about it, I think Bus Éireann, the workers are correct to do what they have to do. They don't have a choice, because it basically means that they're going to lose jobs. It also means we are going to lose buses. In rural Ireland, not in Dublin, not in the east of the country. It's all in the west of the country. This is going to start from
that's correct,
Cork,
actually,
all the way up to Donegal. We're going to lose the express routes because it's cheaper for them to get rid of those than it is to keep facilitating. I always thought, and I don't know about yourself, John, but I always thought that the public service was there for the public, was not there for profit. For the last number of years, Bus Éireann has lost hugely financial support from the state, from the government. It has been cut every year, dwindled away to now where we see the fruits of the government's cutting, where what has occurred, and what has occurred is a bus service that is struggling to support itself, where it's now in a market of private bus services taking over, actually being flooded by private bus services.
Yes.
And what you're going to see is if we do not support and do not help our public bus service, it will be gone. We will then be stuck with the private service, which the state wants, where they will raise the prices
It's going to happen.
exorbitant
Yes.
measures, because they are for profit. They are not for the
public service. You see, that's the problem. I agree. And the point is that, as well, Brian, is that there's roughly, I think, 2,600 staff of the group.
Yeah.
And it's quite possible that, I heard today, how accurate it is, I don't know, there could be up to 400 or 500 on the express company gone or redeployed. But sure,
that I couldn't say straight off, John, because I don't know the numbers offhand.
Yes.
But I would say that those that are that are involved directly in the issue of the express routes are in trouble. I think they're definitely their jobs are gone straight away. And
200 today in Nina, it could be a bad month.
That's where we need
job losses.
Yeah, that's where we need to stick and support
what we have left.
What we have, and support the unions, regardless of our view of unions and this, that, and the other. I'm a member of the unions. I keep telling you.
That's right.
I'm a member of SIPTU. I'm a proud union supporter, but I may not be a full supporter of those in top offices in the unions. Mm-hmm. But I do believe that as a worker, we need a union. We need to be support. We need to give them support on this, because it's the unions. Like, if we can strengthen and change, will make a huge difference in this country. Because at this moment of time, they're creating jobs. Yes, but the majority of jobs that they're creating are below average wage.
That's the very point I was going to come to, exactly.
And we need to strengthen it.
But the point is that it's not happening.
I mean,
there's only 2 or 3 different sectors of work where wages are going up by maybe 3-4%. Not workers have told me that doesn't even help them to pay utility bills. No. Now these are people that are working, paying their taxes, and they can. And then, is it any wonder then why the car sales in the country, 26 counties, have been reduced by 21%, because people are not availing of monies from banks or credit unions to actually purchase.
Yeah, they can't
afford it.
They're because, very simply, is that their wages have been reduced, yet inflation has increased. Inflation last year increased by 2%. But yet other things, such as a good example is car insurance, has gone up by 20%.
Right. Yes.
And yet our wages are the same.
That's another rip-off.
Actually, John, just to put it out there, that I have been holding meetings presently in the last couple of months on the issue of the car insurance rip-off.
Yes.
And anyone that maybe listens to this would be interested in getting involved, or maybe holding a meeting in their own area, they can contact me through, maybe we can give my details out at a later date.
I will.
And,
yes, most certainly.
Anyone that would be interested in learning more about our plan on the issue of car insurance, get in contact with us.
Okay, very good. Brian, we leave it at that. Thank you indeed for joining us.
No bother.
And just signing off here, John Prendergast here with What Matters. Gurmila Mahagad, August Slán.